Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler review series videos I do for the one. I go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm gonna talk about the stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie. I got a couple of knockoff sodas to go over here and try, and I'm hoping for the best, but we'll get to that. Folks, it's super simple format. I'm going to go over there. I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing that, folks, I'm wearing grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside my truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means that I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. That's not the case today, though. I actually picked these up a few days ago, especially because, I wanted them to sit in the fridge and get cold and stuff like that. But yeah, so recently, I've been over there and I've been trying out, kind of doing a little mini-series, I guess, trying out different sort of, like, in-store branded sodas and stuff, trying to see where the value is, like, is it worth it, to go over there and shave a few bucks if you're not going to get the right flavors and stuff, and all that. So I've gone over there, I've done some stuff from, like Walmart, I've done some stuff from Walgreens, so on and so forth. And one of the brands that I've been hitting more recently is a brand called Signature Select, which is from a sort of local supermarket in the Illinois area called Jewel. And I've been going to Jewel ever since I was a little kid. That was always kind of our go-to place when I was little. And, they have their own line of sodas. And I was like, fuck it, man. So let's try out some sodas. So I've already tried their cola. What else? Did I do one of their other things? I think I did their cola, and I think I did their ginger ale. So, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? It's boom! It's Signature Select Dr. Dynamite soda. It's knockoff Dr. Pepper. And by the way, what would the fact that this is an in-house brand for a local establishment, effectively, this is going to end up on my Eating Out Illinois playlist, because it's a, local establishment. But let's get a thing for the thing. It looks like that. Ha 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 ha. And yeah, man, I love some Dr. Pepper, so I need this to be good. And I've typically enjoyed the Signature Select stuff, so. But this is going to be one of those ones, because it's like, you can't fuck up Dr. Pepper for me. I love some Dr. Pepper. Has that Dr. Pepper smell to it. Maybe not quite as fragrant, but it's there. Let's give it a go. Okay. That's not too bad. One of the things that I think that's like Signature Select has as an advantage over some of like the other brands that are, along this line is that they've been doing it for such a long time. Like, I don't know when they started, but I remember as a kid, we'd get Signature Select stuff, So they've definitely had time to really work with it, sort of, perfect what they want to try to put out there. I also think it probably benefits them to a certain extent that they are more of a regional brand kind of thing, So I think, when you're in that kind of market, yeah, you're trying to still get as many people in the door, but you always also want to kind of, focus a little bit more on quality than some of like the bigger brands kind of have to, They just want people in the store, and that's about it. Because it's not bad. One thing I do really like about Signature Select sodas is the way that they drink. They have a nice, like, carbonated bite to them. And for me, and everybody has different levels of carbonation that they like, and some people don't like it at all, but for me, I like my soda to have some oomph to it, Like, I want it to have almost a little bit of a thickness to it, I want to be able to chew on the ass end of it. This has that, And for me, it makes the soda feel more filled out, like it's not just a cheap brand soda. This, it doesn't taste exactly like Dr. Pepper. No two ways about it. I wouldn't even say it tastes like, Mr. Pibb. It definitely does have a little bit of a, bargain brand soda flavor. But not to the extent that I've had in certain other instances, not only in doing this series, but just, throughout the course of my life. Like, there's some backing to that flavor. You know, a lot of times when you get budget sodas, they taste like a budget soda. You know, they're lacking. And like I said, there is some of that here. It doesn't have the fullness of the proper Dr. Pepper experience, but it's not leagues and leagues off. You know, it's pretty close for what it needs to be. It still has that sort of indescribable flavor that, you know, all the Dr. Pepper, you know, knockoffs and all that kind of have. Yeah, it's pretty good. And obviously I wasn't coming into it and expecting it to have the same level of flavor as actual Dr. Pepper, because, I mean, what even can? But it's not bad. It's not bad. I think what it's lacking is it's kind of got, it doesn't have quite the same spice to it that Dr. Pepper does. Dr. Pepper has like a little bit of a spiciness to it, you know, kind of, you know, just the tail end. This has a little bit of that, but it doesn't have that same like oomph to it. But yeah, I mean, overall it's pretty good. I'll say this. It's definitely not as rewarding as a proper Dr. Pepper is, but it is not miles away. But is this my favorite signature select branded soda in terms of closeness, you know, to the original flavor? Two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Now, of course, whenever I'm doing these, you know, off-brand things, part of it is the budget aspect of things. Now, Signature Select does cost a little bit more than, you know, say like Aldi brand. It's, I think, maybe about 50 cents more or something like that per 12 pack. And, you know, it's going to vary wherever you're at. But think about sort of the $4 range. So you're basically paying half of what you'd be paying for the name brand stuff. Am I getting half the flavor? Absolutely not. And I think for that reason, again, to ask those two questions, I think for myself personally, I think I would say on occasion and sure. I think for myself, Dr. Pepper is one of those sodas for me that, again, it is very special. I would go for a proper Dr. Pepper because it's just certain sodas I got no problem, you know, letting them kind of do their thing. You know, a cola is a cola. I mean, granted, you know, some colas are better than others, but some things I can let it go. Dr. Pepper, though, it's a little bit harder for me to do. Excuse me with that one. But that said, again, it is a good deal cheaper than the actual stuff. And again, I don't feel like you're getting ripped off on the flavor. But as I was saying before, it's not my favorite Signature Select. Like, that still goes to the cola, which I think is actually a really nice cola for being what it is. This is still a nice Dr. Pepper ripoff, but yeah, it's just, I'm not going to say that I've had too many that have been, like, really better. It would still probably be kind of in the upper echelon of Dr. Pepper ripoffs, but again, it's just one of those things where it's like, for me, I need that Dr. Pepper. You know, I need that real experience. But if I'm recommending it, this kind of comes back to what I've said in the past about other, you know, like soda brands and stuff like that. Stuff like this is like perfect. I mean, for one thing, it's nice if you're on a budget, you know, and, you know, you still want to go over there and treat yourself to a little something. This, I think, works in that capacity. I think you will still get pretty much, you know, roughly the Dr. Pepper experience. But it especially is nice if, you know, like, let's say if, you know, you're having a party or a barbecue or something like that, you just want to have something to stock the freezer with for guests. This is going to do just fine for you. It'll, you know, fulfill that end of things and not cost you an arm and a leg. But I will say, I wouldn't singularly relegate it to just that setting, because I do think overall it's pretty tasty, and I don't feel like it's lacking in flavor. It just doesn't quite have what I'm looking for. It's one of those things where I think if you're not as much of a zealot about your Dr. Pepper as I am, I think this will work perfectly fine for you, and it's overall pretty tasty. I got a 12 pack of this stuff, so. But anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your folks. Go over there themselves a truly proper Dr. Pepper-tastic rest of your life. Because accept no substitutes, folks. I don't care what American Dad said. They had a whole episode about Mr. Pibb. Look, I like some Mr. Pibb every once in a while, but let's be honest, Mr. Pibb is the less professional version of Dr. Pepper. It just is. Final two things. Of course, not even Mr. Pibb anymore. Final two things. Number one, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, like having cat hair on our shirts, it's important we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully, do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, what's your personal take on Dr. Pepper? Is it something that you love? Is it something that you hate? I mean, I know like it's a big thing in Texas. Me and Texas might not agree on everything, but when it comes to certain things, especially fucking Dr. Pepper, fuck yes, Texas. We are down. Get that, get some barbecue going. Texas has like a weird reputation with barbecue though, because like depending on who you talk to, depends on if they have a good reputation or a bad reputation. Which is really weird, because typically it's like fairly unanimous, but seems like people in the South tend to think that Texas is kind of shit for barbecue, but people up north, which I mean maybe says something. I don't know. But yeah, what's your personal opinion on all things Texas, you know, and especially Dr. Pepper? I'd be really interested to hear about it, since I love it so much. Bye.